I do want to get into some Texan stuff. I know it is preseason. It is not the biggest game, but this is a Texans preseason. So this is a game where you're going to see there's not a lot of guys that are really going to sit out. We may see a Jerry Hughes not play because, he's a more well-known guy. Denzel Perryman may not play. There may be, I don't know how much Blake Cashman's going to play. You assume he's going to play some. Once you get in that secondary, Jimmy Ward may, he's a safety out there. He may not play a ton. Some of the older guys may not play a lot in the preseason. But they have a lot of young guys. You expect Will Anderson to get some serious reps in the preseason. You expect C.J. Stroud to get some reps in the preseason. And so watching a Texans game could be interesting. It could be, and I want to give you some position battles. And they're not even really battles because early in the preseason, we're not even talking about who's going to be a starter because Texans just don't really have a lot of depth, so you can kind of figure out who's going to start at a lot of these positions. But it's positioning on that depth chart and who's going to be getting targets. And if we're talking about that, we're going to have to talk about the wide receiver core because Robert Woods, Nico Collins, John Mechie, Tank Dell, Noah Brown are all pretty much sure things to make the roster, right? They're all looking pretty happy and pretty good to be a part of this rotation of wide receivers. And it seems like it's going to be a rotation because you just don't know. But who's going to stand out in this preseason? Who's going to show early on that they have a connection with C.J. Stroud? We've heard before that C.J. Stroud said that he wanted Tank Dell. C.J. Stroud said, man, Tank Dell, go get out and get him. Once they drafted C.J. Stroud, he told the Texans, I really like Tank Dell. If you get him, they have a good rapport. Does he build up something there? Does John Mechie come out and he starts to progress? Do we see that through this preseason? Does Nico Collins, is he able to take the step of playing against number one cornerbacks? And again, you may not be doing that in preseason, but is he able to get separation and be able to do what he did last year against these number one guys and find the rhythm with C.J. Stroud? And is Robert Woods going to be able to be the guy? This is a big opportunity for him. He's been a journeyman pretty much now at this point in his career, traveled around, been on several teams, and not been able to make it stick. Can he be a veteran to this wide receiver core? And then Noah Brown. Look, we know if Cowboys fans, we've watched Noah Brown, and you see sparks, and maybe he's got something. Maybe there's something there, but it never really came to fruition in Dallas. What is he able to do? Watching those guys, not so much in necessarily just looking at a box score, but watching how they break out in routes and watching how they're able to get separation and watch their timing with C.J. Stroud especially is going to be something to keep an eye on throughout this entire game against the Patriots. And we know Bill Belichick's not going to show you a ton. He's going to be trying to just figure things out on his defense. So you're going to be able to get some. You're going to be able to get some plays. Who's got the speed? Who's going to be a deep threat? All those things you're going to try and figure out by your wide receiver core. And then we go to quarterback. We know C.J. Stroud. Look, I know DeMeco Ryans can say C.J. Stroud is not, has not been named the starter yet. He's starter week 1 in preseason, but he hasn't named him week 1 for the regular season. That is what DeMeco Ryans has said so far. However, I think we all kind of know the writing on the wall is the question is then Davis Mills or Case Keenum. Can Davis Mills be the backup quarterback? Because if it's Davis Mills versus C.J. Stroud, I don't see why you put Davis Mills in instead of C.J. Stroud. We know it. But can Davis Mills become the backup quarterback over Case Keenum? Or does Case Keenum show what he's done earlier in his career? He's shown what he's done in Houston before and be a very serviceable, good backup quarterback. I want to watch the difference between Davis Mills and Case Keenum in this game. Can Case Keenum come in and play with some of these younger guys and still show off what he can do? If Case Keenum comes out, doesn't have any turnovers, doesn't make any bad plays, moves them down the field a little bit, and Davis Mills is not able to do that, I think you see Davis Mills move down. I think you see Davis Mills maybe even play less minutes in the preseason because they may try to salvage Davis Mills as a trade option at some point if there's some other injuries and say, hey, man, this guy, he's actually pretty good and he's actually smart. I don't know if you're going to be able to do that if he continues to struggle in the preseason. You may just have to stick him down at the end of the bench. But I'm not looking for the C.J. Stroud versus Keenum or C.J. Stroud versus Davis Mills. I'm looking at Mills versus Case Keenum to see if Davis Mills can become that solidify himself as number 2. Show progress over last season. Show something there. That's what I'm looking for in that position battle. And then it's center. Center's a little bit weird. Juice Scruggs, rookie drafted. He is a guy they wanted to eventually put into that role. Scott Queensberry was the starting center going into camp. He tears his ACL and his MCL at the beginning of August. So he's done. He's not coming back, we don't believe. So you have to then go into, is Juice Scruggs ready to be a starting center in the NFL with a rookie quarterback who you are going to have to try and protect? You need the clean handoffs. Can you build something and say, is he good enough? Is he ready enough for week 1? If we put a rookie quarterback out there and we have a rookie center, do we feel he is ready enough that we will have growing pains? We know there's going to be growing pains. We know there's going to be growing pains with C.J. Stroud too. But are they good enough? Can they build a connection that, man, maybe this is a center quarterback connection for the next decade in Houston? That's what you want. That's the best in. And the lines of it is this somebody that we can feel, because of the injury to Scott Queensberry, that we can stick him in and see what he does and go through the growing pains this season? Can we do that with Juice Scruggs? That's the question I want to see tonight. Does he play at a level? Are the quarterback, whether it's shotgun, whether he's under center, you assume it's going to be a lot more shotgun. That's just kind of how a lot of NBA, NFL action is today. So, and I mean, look, and honestly, we're going to want to see how Bobby Slowick calls a game. I know it's preseason, but we've never seen Bobby Slowick call a play. So who doesn't want to see that? But I want to see Juice Scruggs, see what he can do at center, see his connection. If we have the connection there with C.J. Stroud, it is going to be, and all you need is for him to not get lost in it, be able to pick up things, be able to do some small things, and I think that'll be fine enough for him to be the starting center, and you'll be able to use him for as long as you can into the season. But I just need to see that he is not messing up some easy snaps. The situation is not too big for him in the preseason, because we know it'll be even better when the crowds are full, the stadiums are packed with people, and it's getting loud, and you're playing on the road, and things get tough. Then we just mentioned you want to see how this game is called on offense and defense. We've seen DeMeco Ryans call defense. He mentioned it. He talked about it the other day. That basically, look, I don't have anything to hide with how I call my defense. I don't have anything to hide about how I call defensive plays, because this is who I am. You've seen it. That's in San Francisco. That's what we did. I was play caller there. Defensively, I was doing that. That's going to be the same stuff we're kind of doing here in Houston. But Bobby Slowick on offense, is this going to be a run the ball? Is he going to try some different things? Is he going to be trying to tank it downfield? What is Bobby Slowick? What is he? Is he more Mike McDaniel? Is he a more LaFleur? Is he a more Shanahan? Is he somebody completely different? Is he a mix of all of them? How much are you going to see in week 1 of preseason? You expect to see a ton. But to see how Bobby Slowick calls, and then to watch on defense, I will give you something to watch on defense. And there's going to be some lapses in this defense, because it is DeMeco Ryans trying to teach a new a system to a bunch of guys who are young, a bunch of guys who maybe haven't played in a system like this before. There's going to be some learning curve, and you're going to see where guys are missing assignments, basically. So watching who misses assignments, who's constantly where they need to be, who doesn't get blown past, who doesn't get there. So maybe not as much even who's wrapping up the right way and who's getting the tackles and who's able to play defensive back. That's stuff you can watch for, but you're watching for that in every game. Just watching for guys that don't look lost out there on defensive points. When you see a guy standing and you can go, oh, he's 8 yards away from where he's supposed to be. That is something you can want to watch for in this game. And then for C.J. Stroud, I told you earlier, I'm not worried about watching him lose his number 1 spot. I don't think that's going to happen. Here's DeMeco Ryans of what he is looking for in C.J. Stroud.
Yeah, from C.J. in this game, I just want to see a guy come out and command the huddle, command the offense, get us lined up, get everybody on the same page, and just operate efficiently.
That's it. That's all you want to see. You want to see him come out. He's played in much bigger games at Ohio State. You want to see him come out and just be the leader they need him to be, to not have any moment be too big for him in a preseason game. Come out, no jitters, and just say, look, I am your week 1 starter. That's all I need. How he throws the ball, things like that, sure, if it's bad, it's going to be bad. I don't expect it to be bad. I need to see him, though. I need to see him command the team. I need him to be able to get the team back. I want to see him not making the faces when someone drops a pass. You want to see him pick him up. We don't need to see any Manning face. We don't need to see, no offense to Arch, we don't know if Arch has Manning face. We don't know if he has resting Manning face, as Peyton and Eli clearly do every time the receiver would drop a pass. You want to see him show the leadership skills, pick this team up, and become the guy that you feel can start week 1 and be able to go. That's what you want to see out of CJ Stroud.